In today's episode, we are going to be going over the NAF Cash Program. In other words, how to outbid a cash offer on a house. If you're tired of getting outbidded by cash offers, this video is going to show you how to go from making a traditional offer to how to go and make a non-contingent cash offer, even if you don't have the cash. To help us with that, we have Miguel Vias. He is the Director of NAF Cash, and we're going to be talking about how does the program work, who benefits from it, what are the fees associated with it, what does the process look like, and then if you're a real estate agent, how you can use this program to gain a competitive advantage in your marketplace. Welcome to the show, Miguel. How are you?
Thank you, Joseluiz. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having
Love
me.
it. Doing well. Yeah, same here. So let's jump right into it. For our viewers out there, what is NAF Cash and how did this NAF Cash program come about?
Yes. So to start with that question, Joseluiz, I would like to start explaining who is New American Funding, right? So NAF, New American Funding. New American Funding is a mortgage company nationwide with more than 20 years in the market. And back in 2021, after COVID, there were some concerns about normal borrowers getting outbid by investors, and that's when they start pitching this to our CEO to say, hey, we need to have a tool that can help a normal borrower to compete in this market. That's how we created NAF Cash LLC. We started in Colorado only, and now we are nationwide. And basically, what we do is we purchase the home that the client wants, the subject property, in cash, and then we sell it back to the client, and they pay us back with the mortgage. That's simple.
Got it. Now, that's really great because meaning like, let's say that you have a property that you really like and you're competing against other cash offers. If you are financed, you may be at a disadvantage against a cash offer. Now with this NAF Cash program, they will actually purchase it for cash and then resell it back to you.
Exactly.
Now that sounds great. Does the property have to be in a certain condition in order to qualify for the NAF
we
Cash?
do require,
or can it be a picture?
Yeah, we do require an inspection, right? Because we need to make sure that the property is in a good condition. We are not an investor, as you can see. So behind us, it's the client, the normal client with a mortgage. So they're going to do an appraisal, right? So we need to just make sure that the property is in a good condition. That's why we require an inspection.
Got it. And how do you guys protect yourself? Like, meaning like, okay, like let's say you guys buy a property for cash and then a buyer saying, well, once you guys buy it, I'm going to buy it from you. What happens if they lose their job? What happens if they have a change? What happens if the loan can't go through? What happens if they change their mind?
So
how are you guys protected?
Yeah, that's a great question, Luis, because so some of the requirements that we ask the client upfront, one is the earnest money deposit, right? So that's what we call it, their skin of the game. So for this program, we use, it's available for conventional and VA. So what we do is we do require a minimum percentage of the purchase price for EMD for the client to put in escrow once the offer is accepted. That's the only thing. Once we purchase the home, that EMD is non-refundable. That's how we protect. It's the only thing, right? So that's how we protect our program. Once we purchase the home, that EMD is non-refundable. The earnest money.
Got it. And then what percentage of the purchase price is that? And obviously this is important because if I'm a VA buyer and I'm planning on buying with 0% down, there's a likelihood that I may not have $100,000 to put as a deposit. What does that typically look like?
So I'm gonna split this. I'm gonna start with conventional first. So conventional buyer from 150,000 up to 1 million, we ask for 5% EMD. Over 1 million up to 2 millions, we ask for 10%. And for VA, from 150 to 1 million, we ask for 1.5% earnest money. Over 1 million, 3%. As you can see, for VA is very common. Maybe it's just the closing cost, right? That they have to have in mind, or maybe they already can cover, because they can. Sometimes the VA covers all the, the 0% down payment plus closing costs. So if that's the case, we just send back that money to them.
Got it. So what does the process look like for you guys? Like, okay, I'm tired of getting outbidded, or even I'm selling a property, right? And I come to you guys. What does that process look
It's
like?
very simple. So the first step is to get with a loan officer with New American Funding and submit all your paperwork, income, assets, credit. They wanna submit all the file to underwriting. So the client's gonna get approved by pre-approved by underwriting, and at that point, the loan officer is gonna understand the situation about the borrower and is gonna offer the opportunity to get cash approved. At that time, they are gonna submit the file to us, NAF Cash, the NAF Cash LLC company. We want to review the guidelines. The guidelines, for example, I'm gonna share with you is conventional. It's 620 FICO score. We ask maximum debt to income 45%. If they have a home to sell, it's a repeat buyer. We ask for 30% equity in the departing residence. And down payment, it's 5%. That is the same as the EMD. But something that we just roll out in this week is if one of the borrowers for conventional loan is a first-time home buyer, we can go with 3% down payment. So those are the requirements, right, that we review. And then also we just review that the client has the EMD liquid. That means that at the moment that we submit the offer, they have to have that money in the checking account because at the moment that the offer is accepted, they have to send that to escrow. So that's for conventional. For BA, it's the same. 620 FICO score. We don't check debt to income. And if they have a home to sell, 30%, and then they can go with 0% down payment, right? If they are financing the complete mortgage for BA, and if they have a home to sell, 30%, and the EMD, right? 1.5% below 1 million and 3% above 1 million. So we review that and everything check. Now Jose Luis is NAF Cash approved. So now we work with your real estate agent, the buyer's agent that is representing you, the borrower, and also we do require the agent to take a training. This training is free. It's 45 minutes when we explain every single step of the process. Because as you can see, it's going to be 2 transactions in one, right? So we need help from the real estate agent. So they help us to submit the cash offer. The cash offer is going to say who's the buyer. The buyer is going to be NAF Cash LLC, right? We're going to go through what's the EMD percentage that the client wants to put in the first offer, and then we're going to submit the cash offer. The only requirement is that we do an inspection. We need to make sure that the property is in a good condition, right? The offer is accepted. Now, at that point, we ask the real estate agent to write the second contract. Now it's between NAF Cash LLC as seller and the borrower. So we'll have a second contract, right? Because we want to tie, like I'm buying the property for the borrower. So now the second contract is between NAF Cash and the borrower. So the real estate agent helps us to write the contract. We execute the contract, and then we open 2 escrows. One between the original seller and NAF Cash, and the second one between NAF Cash and the borrower. So the borrower has to send first their EMD, 5%, 10%, depending on the loan that they are getting. And then once escrow receive the money, we send ours from our account. So as you can see, we don't use clients' money, well, right? So we don't mingle in money. They put the money in escrow and we send ours. Once the EMDs are there, now we start the due diligence, what we call it. That when we do the inspection, right? We validate the value of the property. So we run an AVM, an automated valuation model, to make sure we pull some comps to make sure that the property is going to appraise. If we see that the value is not there versus the offer price, we do a desktop appraisal. So we pay for an appraiser to do a desktop appraisal. They don't go to the property. They do it, in their computers. They pull some comps. We receive everything. Everything looks good. Now we're clear to close. So we go and we purchase the home. We send our funds to escrow, and that's when we close the first transaction. What we call it the cash transaction. At that point, the real estate agent gets their commission if the seller is paying the commission. That's released at that point, and then from there, the benefit of the program is that the client can move into the property, right? So we're talking about maybe 7-10 days since we started, since the offer is accepted. That's the convenience, right? That they see when they are a repeat buyer, when they have a home to sell. That's the benefit that they see that I can move right away. We give them the keys, and that's when we start a rent back. We start a lease agreement between NAF Cash as owner and the borrower as tenant. And we're going to explain this later about the rent back schedule and everything, but um, I can tell you that that's one of the benefits that the client sees in the program to say, okay, now I can move in, I can move all my, I can do all the moving to the new home, and then I can focus on selling the dependent residence. So they can move in, and then from there, we just wait until the client sells the dependent residence if they have a dependent residence and close the mortgage. We give them up to 90 days, 3 months to close the mortgage. Again, we don't live about, our business is not property management, right? So we want them to close the mortgage, to be the owner of the property, right? So we give them 90 days, and then in these 90 days, we don't collect monthly the rent back monthly. We wait until they close. So the rent back starts when we purchase the home up to the day that they close. Let's suppose that they take maybe 40 days. We are just gonna charge the client 40 days. We charge this per diem. So the loan officer is gonna work with the client, making sure that they sell the parent residence, clear to close, and then the date of signing, we send our invoice from NAF Cash LLC that is out of escrow. They can even pay with credit card, and that's it. Now everything is on their client's name. They close, and that's how we complete the program.
Are they allowed to have the property on the market in the first escrow, meaning from the time that NAF Cash makes to the offer to the time NAF Cash closes? Because sometimes I hear that lenders don't want you to have your property on the market while you're getting a loan or something like that.
That's a great question.
Is that possible?
Yes. So we do require that they have to list the property at least one day before we purchase the home. That's it.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. And then I know that you guys are getting an inspection period at that point. While you guys are going through your due diligence on the purchase, is that inspection done by the buyer or is that inspection done by NAF Cash? And is the buyer still allowed to request like a request for repairs?
Yes.
Or is that not possible because they're not the actual buyer?
Actually, the buyer is who pays for the inspection, right? So everything that they want to get fixed is the moment to negotiate, right, with the seller.
Yeah.
So the buyers it's under buyer's responsibility. Yep.
So they're 100% in control,
Yes,
and if they
100%.
change their mind about it, they could basically back away at that point.
Exactly.
Or renegotiate the contract if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. That's why we, explain the importance of the due diligence, right? Because if they don't like something about the condition of the property, we can back out. The EMDs come back to us, right? To the borrower, to us, and let's go to the next one.
Okay. So all this sounds fantastic. It sounds like, wow, like this is like a dream come true. You're able to make an offer in cash. Obviously you get the financing right afterwards. How does a NAF Cash make money?
So we charge a service fee that is based on each state. So for example, I know you're in California. In California, the service fee is 1.6% of the purchase price. How do we charge this to the client? That it's another benefit, right? So we don't ask the client to pay this out of pocket. What we do is when we do the second contract between NAF Cash LLC, a seller, and your borrower, we increase the purchase price by 1.6%. So basically, it's rolled into the mortgage. So you're gonna pay that 1.6% for the next 30 years of your mortgage.
So basically, on $1 million property, it'd be a fee of $16,000, which is really nothing if you factor in this could be the difference between you getting your offer accepted or not getting the offer accepted. Not only that, but like if you're selling a property, this could actually be a really good benefit. So what happens if you're unable to sell your property in 90 days?
So after 90 days, all the rent back of those 90 days are due. So we ask the client to pay for those 90 days. And then if we get to the agreement that we need to extend, now we start a lease agreement month by month, and we increase the rent back by 10%. Because again, it's just to put some urgency, and because the goal is for them to close the mortgage, to be the homeowner of that property.
Yeah. So we talked about the close of escrow and how it works if you're buying and selling somewhat at the same time. What happens if you're not selling a property and you're just a buyer? Meaning, from the time NAF Cash closes, how soon can New American Funding close out that process, assuming you don't have a property to sell?
Yeah, so first-time home buyer, right? What's the benefit for them? So
Yeah.
we have seen great, use cases where they may get struggle to get the financing offer accepted. So that's why they come to us, right? So we pitch the program, we teach them how it works. So what we do is we do the two processes at the same time. So we just need to work very, very close with the title company to make sure that they have enough time, because obviously the first time home buyer, they don't want to pay rent back, right? Because that's the other fee associated with this. So what we try to do is at the moment that we close the transaction, we're just working with the loan officer in the back end to make sure that the loan officer has all the the appraisal and everything that is needed for the mortgage, and maybe close 2-3 days after we close. So the charge for the rent back is minimum.
How is the rent back amount calculated?
So we have this at national level, so we don't have per market, and it's based on the purchase price. I can give you an example for a property about, let's do 500,000. I'm gonna open here. So
Yeah.
500,000 purchase price. The rent back is 3,500 per month, and we charge per diem, so it's gonna be $116 per day. It's just to give you an example. So in some markets, it's
How much per day?
$116 per day.
Which is nothing. Now, in order for NAF Cash to make these cash offers, it sounds like they're not getting like hard money loans or anything like that, because it doesn't sound like there's all these additional fees. Like, it sounds like they're actually making the offer in cash, because in order for them to be able to rent it back at $3,500, it holding costs would be potentially higher if they were getting like a 10% rate or a 9% rate or something like that, I would imagine.
Exactly. So this is just to cover our expenses, right? For carrying over this property for them. And that's it. So that's why, it's very convenient, and they see the convenience more for the repeat buyers that they have a home to sell.
Got it. So it's basically a way of New American Funding building relationships with real estate agents on a program that helps them get their clients' offer accepted. And it's also a way for New American Funding to differentiate themselves from a traditional mortgage. So let's talk about interest rates. Are the interest rates higher with the New American Funding because they're helping them with this program?
No.
And then also, how does a rate lock work if it's a 90-day potential from the purchase? Like, how does that rate lock
So that's
work?
a great question, Jose Luis. And actually, we don't even see the interest rate that the client is getting, right? So there is nothing. We don't increase the rate. What we do is that once we send the file to underwriting, we set a specific rate to get pre-approved. That's the only thing, right? And then the next question that you asked about the lock the rate, that happened after basically they sell the departing residence, or they are close to close in the mortgage. So we don't extend or pay for extension of locks of the rate lock. So we just qualify for a specific rate up front, and then once we are ready to close, the loan officer is working with the client. That's when they have another conversation about the rate, and then from there they lock it. So there is no extra charge in rates.
Got it. And then, like, let's say that there's a 5% conventional offer. You ask for a 5% earnest money deposit on $1 million home. That's $50,000. Let's say the buyer does walk out. What does NAF Cash do for the property at that point? Do they just resell it and put it back on the open market and use that 5% margin to kind of cover any additional costs of selling, etc.?
You got it. Exactly. So we own the property, and we have to sell it because we don't, it's not our business. So we, with the earnest money deposit and the rent back that they have to pay for the days that they live there, we offset our selling expenses.
How often does that happen?
I will tell you, in these 3 years, it's less than 1%.
Less than 1%. So very rare type of situation, basically. Got it. Okay. And then any additional restrictions for clients that are selling their property? Like, do you guys have them use a specific real estate agent, specific real estate company? Do you guys dictate the selling price? Do they have to run the listing price by you guys? Anything like that?
No, so we use the real estate agent that they are working with. The only requirement is that they have to take the training to get certified. That's it. And then regarding the departing residents, we ask for an SCMA, comparable market analysis, right? To make sure that, just to have an idea on what's the listing price that they are putting the property on and the comparables and the net sheet. With the net sheet, we just validate the equity that they will have.
Got it. Okay. Aside from the cash offer, does NAF Cash offer any other products?
No, this is the only one right now. NAF Cash.
That's their main role,
Yes.
basically. Got it. Okay. And if somebody, like, let's say somebody's a real estate agent and they wanted to get the training to become NAF Cash certified, or if you're a consumer that's interested in the NAF Cash program to make a non-contingent cash offer on a property, where can they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we have a website. So you can go to www.nafcash.com, and we have a specific tab for potential buyers and a tab for real estate agents. We have there all our contact information. It's very simple. You're gonna get contacted to our team. We want to transfer you and connect you with a loan officer with New American Funding to start the application. If you're a real estate agent, you can just go to the website, click in the tab, and there is a link where you can register for the training. We do trainings every single day, Luiz, and we do this in English and Spanish, actually. 45 minutes, and it's free.
I love it. Okay. And then, perfect. If somebody wanted to get in contact with you, just is there a certain email?
Yes.
Is there a certain way to get in contact with somebody like you? What's the best way?
Yeah, so you can just email info@nafcash.com, and we can take care of you. It's very simple, it's a very unique program, and we just want the borrower to be strong in the market, right? To make sure that they can get the property that they want.
Got it. Any final words, Miguel, or anything else that you think consumers should know?
I will just thank you again, Jose Luis, for the time. I really appreciate it. I enjoy the conversation. And if you're a client, and you're struggling to get your offer accepted, just reach out to NAF Cash. And if you're an agent, a real estate agent, this is another tool for you, right? So this is free, 45 minutes training. This is gonna give you just more tools to stand out in your market. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to help you just to excel in your market.
Yeah. I want to say thank you, Miguel, for taking the time to be on the show. To our viewers out there, we had Miguel Vias with NAF Cash Program. We talked about how to outbid a cash offer, how to be more competitive in your marketplace, or even how to make a non-contingent offer if you're purchasing a property. I believe that this is a great program. So if you have enjoyed this interview, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you feel that this interview would be helpful, make sure to hit that share button. Thank you again, Miguel, and to our viewers, until next time.